So who talks first? I talk first? You talk
Hey,
first?
what's going on, folks? Welcome to the Super Review Show, Mixed Bag. I'm Bill,
I'm Justin.
and welcome to the Super Review Show, Mixed Bag. I'm
I'm
back,
live from the other J Cave.
the other J Cave and the B Cave. I'm back. Missed me last week, Justin?
Yeah, it was weird not having you. We had to pivot to something not movie or music related. Um, JT is unfortunately out today due to a family emergency, but as the old saying goes, the show must go on. So you're stuck
So,
with us,
so yeah,
the
you're stuck with
knuckleheads.
us. We'll go back to the old movie holics days, aren't we, Justin?
Yes.
Except we're not in a car.
And we're not reviewing a movie.
Well, we're talking about movies. And
Yes, we are talking about movies. We're talking about
And
movies that
unfortunately, Miss
are,
Allie is not here tonight, by the way.
yes, Allie is also absent tonight.
But
Um,
but also, guys, this Friday is Miss Allie's birthday. So wish her happy birthday in the comments.
applause!
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 Okay. This is the third week in a row that the whole gang isn't here.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that?
So when do I get a vacation?
Well, why don't you take next week off then? So, yeah, 2 weeks ago, JT wasn't here. Last week, I wasn't here. And today, JT and Allie aren't here. So, Justin, you're vying for that perfect attendance award?
Well, I lost that a couple of months ago, so lost that in July.
Okay. So now that we got that out of the way, we got a fun topic for you folks, don't we?
Yes. Now, we all love movies. We all love going to movies as a family. We all love how it just brings the family all together. But there are some movies that just not a good idea.
They're not. These are movies you shouldn't watch with grandma.
Not with your grandma, not with your parents. And if you are parents, not with your kids.
So these are your movie night no-nos. These are movies that you shouldn't watch with your relatives. Unless your parents are like super cool and
Or
don't care.
super effed up.
What was that?
Or super effed up.
I actually got a quick funny story before we begin. I have a friend of mine who had a grandmother, God rest her soul.
Mm-hmm.
She was like super Irish, and the Irish don't like the English and all that.
Yeah.
And they were watching the movie Braveheart.
I'm listening.
And they said to her, Grandma, it's kind of bloody. And she said, that's okay, it's English blood.
Huh.
That is so screwed up, but yet so hilarious. What do you think?
Well, some people are just wired like that.
Like, oh, that's okay, it's English blood. You know who I think would have been the exact same way?
Your granddad.
My granddad. Yeah. So tonight we're talking about movies that you shouldn't be watching with your relatives, such as Nate Moser's OnlyFans. Hey, Mike Rifkin gave me permission to use that joke. I'm going to use it, goddammit. Mike Rifkin, I hope I did you proud. You think I did Mike Rifkin proud? You think I did Mike Rifkin proud? And Nate Moser, if you are watching, it's okay, buddy. I still think you're a swell guy. You really are.
Could be worse.
So, what was that?
Could be worse.
Ow.
Could be Iggy Azalea.
I don't get it, but
she has an OnlyFans page too.
By the way, not sponsored. We're not sponsored, by the way. Well, this is getting off to a smashing good start, isn't it?
I'm surprised you didn't ask me how I knew about Iggy Azalea's OnlyFans page.
Yeah, how did you know about that, Justin?
Under the Fifth Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, I'm not going to answer that question on the grounds that it might incriminate me.
You know what? Screw this stuff. Why don't we just sit here BS for an hour? I think JT would kill us, wouldn't he? Because we'd be probably talking about things that he would probably go, "Oh God, Bill, no."
I think that's already been happening.
Yeah, but yeah. So anyway, I think you know what he's probably thinking right now.
Why did I say yes to this?
Okay, that, and he's probably thinking the Monty Python joke. 3 words.
Get on with it.
Get on with it. Okay, but before we begin, speaking of relatives, since I wasn't here last week, I wasn't able to do this shout out, but now that I'm here, when we did our Don't Swipe Right 60s challenge, remember that?
Yes.
You know who was watching?
Who?
My Uncle Jim. Remember him?
Oh, okay.
So shout out to Uncle Jim. We're glad you watched this one, but we hope you're not watching this one. Am I right? I love you, Uncle Jim, but
to quote Star Trek 3, get out! Get out of here!
Because he's probably thinking, oh God, what has my good Catholic great nephew been reduced to? Okay. Now that we got all the jokes,
include one Star Trek joke in there. I had to.
Now that we got all the jokes out of the way, you ready to get down to business?
Yep.
All right, Justin, you want to begin?
Okay, so I guess I'll begin with an anecdote.
Okay.
So, the second time I saw this movie, my parents thought it would be a fun idea to watch Sausage Party with me, them, and my Opa, my grandfather.
First of all, I want to say to your Opa, God rest his soul.
Yes. Now, for the first hour, I think they were just thinking this was a dumb food comedy with some raunchy jokes. Then the last sequence happened.
How did your family react to this?
With utter disgust.
Whose reaction was worse, your parents or your grandfather?
I think my grandfather was just very, very confused, but my parents were absolutely disgusted that I was allowing them to show this to my grandfather. And in hindsight, I don't blame them.
Oh.
This movie is much. For those of you who don't know what happens at the end, essentially, the foods utterly and completely accept atheism and throws one giant supermarket orgy.
So you think this is, yeah, a lot of people have said this is a commentary on religion. Wouldn't you agree?
I could see it. I could absolutely see it.
And listen, regardless of what your religious belief is, we respect you. Um, yeah, but you saw it the second time with them. You know who you saw it the first time with.
You.
We saw this in theaters, remember?
How could I forget? Like, there is no forgetting this movie. It's uh, uh, I'm having flashbacks.
Dear God. Remember that song that was ironically written by?
Alan Menken.
Yeah, the same guy who brought us Under the Sea, Be Our Guest, A Whole New World. That Alan Menken. So I wonder how the mouse was reacting to this. Hero, what for who? Maybe that's why Alan is kind of maybe excommunicated from Disney right now. But
Maybe
anyway,
that's why Disney has been doing that many musicals in their movies.
But anyway, now I remember watching this movie when I saw it with you. And I remember because the night before my brother saw it with his friends. I said, "Oh, I'm going to go see it tonight with Justin." And he said, "Oh God, Bill, you're going to get it. You're in for it." And I didn't know what he was talking about. I had no idea what he was talking about. And then when I sat down and watched it with you, here was my response.
Yep.
If you remember our car reviews, that was our opening thing. It was, what the hell
just
did we
jaws on the floor, just like we couldn't believe what we just saw. It was
shocking.
One of the most shocking animated movies I've ever seen in my life, bar none.
So you said your grandfather was confused?
Yeah. This was during a time where my grandfather was kind of in a mental decline. So
did he just at this, because I don't want to make fun of that, but was he coherent? Did he know what was going on? Or
yeah, like he knew what was going on, but like I don't know.
Did he look to you and say, "Justin, what the hell did I just watch?"
I really can't remember. I remember my parents' response more than my opa.
Were your parents like, "What the hell did your grandfather just watch?"
Yes, essentially yes.
And were you like, "Sorry, I tried to warn you. I tried to warn you."
Oh, I didn't try to warn them. That's the problem.
Well, maybe you should have tried to warn them.
Well, where's the fun in that?
Damn it, Justin. But you know what? You know what I've always noticed? Have you always noticed that, yeah, we got a few things. We only got like a couple things tonight. So we're going to try to stretch this out a little bit with fun stories because stories are fun. Have you ever noticed that, like when our grandparents are around, our parents like, don't do this, don't say that, don't do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I got a story that's unrelated. It doesn't have to do with movies. It has to do with, have you ever heard of the game Quiplash?
Yes.
I remember one time I was at a family gathering. My grandmother, God rest her soul, we were at a family gathering, and me, my brother, and my cousins were playing Quiplash in the other room, and that game could get pretty.
Yeah.
How would you describe it?
it can be as clean or as dirty as the players who play it.
And my dad, one of my aunts goes, "Your grandmother is in the room, is in the next room. How dare you guys play that? Your grandmother's in the next room." Guess what the key word in that sentence is?
Next room.
She's not in
this room.
So therefore, we're technically in the clear, am I right? We're kind of in the clear, wouldn't you say, Justin? So your grandmother's over there. And I'm like, and I said to Ed, I was like, Grandma, we hope. Goes, I didn't even know what you guys were playing. I didn't even know what was going on there. So go right ahead.
Yeah.
Because I think when you reach a certain age, you just don't care anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think when you just reach a certain age, you just don't care anymore.
Now, if I recall correctly, those games have a family-friendly mode. To prevent it from getting too saucy.
Yeah, so Sausage Party. Do not watch this with your parents.
No.
Or your grandparents.
No.
If you have children,
away from that one.
If you have children or young nieces or nephews, what would you say would be the right age for this movie?
17 and up.
I'd say 16. Justin, it's 2023. People know about this stuff by just looking on their phones. Okay. So anyway, all right, you ready for my first pick?
Yep.
We're going to Mr. Quentin Tarantino.
Okay.
Inglourious Bastards. And since you gave an antidote, guess what?
Your turn?
It's my turn. I first watched this with my dad, and because when I was 15 or 16, up to when I was like 15 or 16, my parents were very strict about movies.
Yeah.
Like when it came to like R-rated movies, like when I was like 14, 15, because they noticed a lot of movies I wanted to see were R-rated. And they made a deal with me. And here was the deal. We'll get the movie on DVD. And you watch it with us first. Yeah, how uncomfortable does that sound, Justin?
Yeah. Not the ideal way to watch a movie, but
I'm like, seriously? Goes that, or you wait till you're 17? I'm like, fine. Because there were certain movies I did not want my parents watching with me. But that was the deal. It was, we'll get it for you on DVD, but you gotta watch it with either one of us first. So I watched this movie with my dad. And he was like, it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, this is a movie I could watch with my father, no problem.
Yeah. But then, guess what?
What?
I watched it with my grandmother. Grandma Marge, God rest her soul. Yeah, I'm going to have to be doing some serious penances tonight, aren't I, after the show? Don't you think, Justin?
Probably.
Because every time, I'm such a Catholic, every time I mention one of my deceased family members, I do the sign of the cross and say, God rest their soul. My grandmother, God rest her soul, she really wanted to see this movie. Please do not ask me why, Justin. Please don't.
I'm trying to respect your wish, but...
Okay, you know what? Screw my wish. Go ahead and ask.
Why?
I have no idea. I think one of her reasons was because she was like during the because she was around during like World War II. She lived until she was in like her early 90s.
Right.
So she was around during that. Um, but and then I remember I was at a family gathering and she was with a family friend who had since passed away, God rest her soul.
Mhm.
And she said, and I'm like, she goes, I want to watch that movie about the bastards. And my grandma just watched it last night. It's kind of gory. And then the family friend goes, oh, gory's fine. I'm like, and I remember one day my grandmother was up and she goes, you know what? Can we watch that? I'm like, I got to do some homework. Because you can put it on and I'll watch it. I'm like, okay. But grandma, I'm warning. You know, unlike the thing with Sausage Party, I actually warned my grandmother. Grandma, I'm warning you. I'm warning you. And I remember I brought the DVD down. I'm like, Grandma, it's not too late to, it's not too late to back out. It's like, just put it in the DVD player and let's go. I'm like, okay, Grandma, but remember,
Warned.
you've been warned. And I clicked play. And I didn't watch the whole thing with her because I had to go do some homework. I was like in 10th grade. It was a Friday night. I'm such a nerd, aren't I, Justin? But I come down. She's like, so what do you think of it so far? She goes, oh, it's good. And then she's like thinking, and then she's like, it's pretty violent. And I'm sitting there thinking, gee, you think? I think your dog is kind of has a lot to say on this matter, doesn't he?
Oh, she's very opinionated on Tarantino. She watched it with us the other night.
Oh, which one?
Inglourious Bastards.
Ooh, what does she think of it?
Well, she was talking through most of it.
So should we include pets in relatives or only human relatives? Should we include pets or?
So look, this movie's an interesting case because I have no problem watching this with my dad. Watching this with my mom might be a little touchy, but for not the reasons some would think.
If you would like to share, go right ahead. If you don't, that's totally fine.
I'll keep that to
Is
myself.
it why I think it is? Because I've known you for 15 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, I remember I watched the second half with her. And and I remember, but the scene I remember her laughing is, you remember that scene when they're at the premiere of that movie?
Yeah.
And Brad Pitt is posing as like some Italian guy. He's like German stuff.
Bolami.
Buongiorno. Si. And Christoph Waltz's character is speaking fluent Italian, and he's like, si, correcto. And did you know, like, Christoph Waltz speaks a lot of different languages? He actually does his own dubs.
Wow.
Christoph Waltz is a pretty smart dude. But she got a good laugh. But you know what my favorite scene of that movie is, though? It's like in the beginning when Brad Pitt's interrogating that guy, and
yes, the Bear Jew.
That's Don Adonowitz. You might know him by his nickname, the Bear Jew. And then he's like just beating the crap out of him with a baseball bat.
Yep.
Is tonight's show just talking about what sick bastards we are?
Some would say inglorious bastards.
Ba-da-bing! But anyway. But yeah, I remember that scene, and because I remember my mom was taking my brother to baseball practice, and it was like a late practice, so my mom's taking my brother home. My dad was away on like a golf trip or something.
Mm-hmm.
So it was me and my grandmother. And I remember I'm sitting there watching the second half with her, and you could tell like during that second half, she was just getting very uncomfortable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That look like, how much longer is left in this movie? Like about 20 minutes. Okay. And then, of course,
The fire.
What?
The bullets. The bloodshed.
But then
The beauty.
But then the end, when he's like, you're gonna look. So once you get that place in Nantucket, in that take it off that good old SS looking uniform, you know what? I'm gonna give you something you can't take off. And then he does
Yeah.
and then she sees Christoph Waltz screaming, and then she's like, "Oh my God, please tell me this is over." And I'm like, "Yes, it is." And she's like, "What did I just watch? What did I just watch?"
A Quentin Tarantino movie.
Like, okay, we're not watching these type of movies next time. You know what? Come to think of it, this could go into a broader conversation. I don't think any Tarantino movies you should watch with your family. Am I right?
No, I can't think of a single one where I would say watch it with the fam.
Like, you know what I've noticed? Have you ever noticed there's just in movies in general, there's some you can watch with your mom, some you can watch with your dad, some you can watch with both.
Well, I still can say maybe you can watch this one with your dad. You can watch I think you can watch Kill Bill with your dad.
Pulp Fiction, you think that's hey mom, come watch with us? Or
No. Pulp Fiction is that one you need to watch on your own.
Or with friends.
Or friends.
Oh, and by the way, I know we gave a pretty broad definition of relative. If you have siblings or cousins who are around your age, yeah, you could watch this with them.
Yeah, they're fair game.
What was that?
Yeah, they're fair game.
But yeah, Inglorious Bastards. I cannot believe I watched this with my grandmother. What do you think about that story, Justin? And you met my grandmother too.
Yeah, and I don't know. Some people have the stomach for violence in movies, some don't. I have the stomach for it. Some people, like my grandmother, do not like torture in movies, which is understandable.
Now, I can understand that in certain movies.
So is that all you got on Inglorious Bastards?
Well, I do got to say so to Tarantino in general. Remember when we saw, what was that movie, The Hateful Eight?
Yeah.
And this is about, people's different tastes of different, what they say, different strokes for different folks.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember this, Justin. There was a couple that were behind us
Mm-hmm.
during The Hateful Eight, and they just got up and walked out.
I don't recall, actually.
There was a couple. I remember the next, I forgot what scene it was, but I turned around and they were gone. I was like, oh, mate. But you know what? Here's what I say. If you can't handle it, you can't handle it.
Yeah.
But you should, and I put this on some people, if you know anything about Tarantino's work, then
you should know what you're getting yourself into.
Absolutely. And I don't know if my grandmother knew anything about Quentin Tarantino. So, yeah. All right, Justin, what do you got next?
Okay, so my next one Oh God, help us all. Um, I have another animated movie. Um, it's Fritz the Cat.
Fritz the cat.
Yes, Fritz the Cat.
I've never seen this movie, so I'm gonna let you.
I've only seen like the first 10 minutes of this movie.
Oh, Ralph Bashki.
Yes. Um, this is essentially porn. This is porn with anthropomorphic animals, animated, crudely, crudely voiced. It's and this is what led him to go on to do a bunch of other projects such as the Lord of the Rings, the animated version, of course, American Pop, and of course, Cool World. But
I heard a
when
lot
I
of his movies have. I'll be Justin. Please don't laugh at me, but I've never watched a lot of Ralph Bashki's movies, so
um, it's something. I watched the first 10 minutes of this movie once on Netflix, and I was like maybe 15, 16 when I saw it, and I was like, what the hell is this? It was a cat in bed with these two. Yeah, it's that scene right there in that first image.
right here.
Yeah, in bed with those two women, and he's like conning them into like taking off their clothes, and like it was like, what the hell is this? And I know my dad knows what this is. I have to know that my dad knows what this is because my dad introduced me to American Pop, that other Ralph Bakshi movie.
What
Uh,
movie?
and
Wait, which one you said?
American Pop,
Oh, I thought you were talking about American Pie.
Pop.
Yeah,
That's another movie you should not watch with your family.
American Pop or American Pie?
Pie.
I Justin, I just have one thing to say to you.
What?
That one time at band camp,
Fuck you.
you know I had to. That joke was calling my name.
That's one of the most overused jokes ever. My mother used that joke once.
You know what? I wasn't going to talk about it, but you know what? Next one, you know what? We're actually going to talk about it. So continue.
I mean, I really don't know what else to say. This is essentially porn. It's animated porn.
When you were watching it, were you like, okay, good night. God bless.
Pretty much.
Go to bed. Good night. God bless. Were you watching it with your parents?
No, absolutely not. God, no. Fuck that. No, absolutely fucking not.
I think your parents would have you in a psychiatrist office after this, wouldn't they?
I'll say this though. Um I think when a lot of people saw this movie for the first time, they developed some fascinations.
Would you say these 12 minutes were the movies that made you into a man?
Or a furry.
Okay, anything else to say?
Um I really don't have anything much else to say. Oh, also, this movie is offensive as hell. That's another reason why you should not watch this with your parents.
All right. You ready for the next one?
Yep.
Since we said we were going to talk about it, guess what?
My is American Pie.
I've only really seen this. I've only seen this movie like once or twice. I don't think I even sat through the whole thing. But hi, Allie.
Yeah,
Hello.
Allie crashing our guys' night.
JT couldn't go on, so I had to be JT for this.
We're just talking about American Pie. Would you like to stay?
I'm only gonna stay for a couple minutes because I'm gonna go to Carolina tomorrow. So God bless all y'all.
Have fun in the great state of Carolina.
I will. And thanks for the wishes. And I'll find you guys in band camp.
Oh my God.
Justin hates that joke, don't you?
It is so overplayed.
And also, speaking of birthday wishes, because Friday is also my brother's birthday, so happy birthday to my brother Dad.
Happy birthday, Danny boy.
You didn't realize one of them was me, did you?
What was that?
You didn't realize one of them was me. You did not look at the Zoom link, seeing two JTs.
Yeah, I saw two JTs, but I'm thinking, what the?
I didn't realize that either. Oh my God.
So this is a lovely surprise.
Oh, I told JT about this.
We're just saying, okay, I'm going to surprise them to make sure they're behaving themselves.
Bill,
but
we've been punked.
Where's Ashton Kutcher?
Best birthday present right there.
Where's Ashton Kutcher?
I just pranked my colleagues, guys.
So anyway,
good night, guys. God bless.
All right, good night, Allie. Good night, Allie.
Have a good night, Allie.
That was strange. Fun.
But strange.
Okay. Guess we go back to what we were talking about. So anyway, I remember when I was in this pre-college program before I started college.
Yes.
Guess what I had to hear every single day?
This one time in band camp.
I'm like, did you even go to band camp? Okay, have you ever had this? Because, you're a movie connoisseur.
Mm.
Have you ever had those moments when people reference a movie you've never seen and you're like, what?
It doesn't happen often because I usually get the reference, but
when someone else hasn't seen a movie, do you ever feel kind of a sense of superiority when you make a reference that they don't get?
No, I kind of feel left out since they don't get the reference. Like, I meant that to be a communal thing to make people laugh, and it felt flat.
Yeah, but anyway, American Pie. I don't know if you remember this when years ago, you and I went to Connecticut.
Yeah.
And we were watching this in the hotel room.
We were?
Yeah. We were watching that scene when I guess it was a camera and that kid's having sex and they're watching it. And I'm like sitting there thinking, and I was 21, 22 at the time. I'm like, because don't forget, again, my folks were kind of strict when it came to movies when I was younger. So I'm like sitting there What the hell is this? I don't even know if we even watched the rest of it. I think I shut it off or something. What do you think of American Pie?
It's okay. It's a sex comedy.
I think this started the terrible line of 2000s gross out comedies. What do you think?
I mean, it was part of it. Yep.
I think this started it. What do you think?
Not to mention it's dozen direct-to-DVD sequels.
And you thought Disney was bad with that. You thought Disney was bad with that. They're worse. So,
Seriously.
is this a movie you watch with your folks?
No. Like I said, I was horrified when my mother made a Bandcamp reference.
Were you like, Mom, if you watched American Pie? Did you ask, like, Mom, were you watching American Pie?
Anyways.
Yeah, so, yeah. All right, Dustin, back to you.
Okay, so my third one. This one is for a somewhat different reason.
Okay.
So, beginning of 2019.
That was a good year. Before the world went to crap.
That is true. So, beginning of 2019, there was a movie that came out to theaters, and people were intrigued by this movie. And then the critic reviews came out, and it was destroyed.
And what was that?
That movie was called Serenity.
I haven't seen this.
I have.
Okay.
Hold
on.
Now,
2018?
Yes. Now, I watched Brad Jones's review of this with Doug Walker.
Shout out to Brad Jones and Doug Walker. We love you.
And they mentioned this as one of the best so bad it's good movies in a while. So, one day, my parents were looking for something to watch. And they found this movie. So they looked at the trailer and they thought it looked interesting, like everyone else did. Because the trailer was interesting. I saw the review. I knew what we were getting ourselves into. They did not. So, me being the great son that I am, kept my mouth shut.
Why did you just warn them?
Because maybe they would share my fascination with how bad this movie will be. I don't know. It's possible.
After you watch a movie like this, was your dad thinking of that famous Smokey and the Bandit quote, the Junior, there's no way you come from my loins.
Oh, I think he thinks that every day.
And the first thing when we get home, the first thing I'm going to do is punch your mom on the mouth. Okay, anyway, go on.
So, for those of you who've not seen this movie, Bill, do you care if I spoil this movie for you?
Yeah, I really have no intentions of seeing it. If I see it, I see it. If I don't, I'm not going to cry myself to sleep tonight.
Okay, so I am going to spoil this movie right now.
Spoiler.
So the big twist of this movie is that Matthew McConaughey's character is a video game character inside a video game that his son created as a coping mechanism after his father died at war.
Wait a minute. I think you named this one of our worst movies of 2019.
It is.
Okay, continue.
Now, I want to emphasize what the plot was going into this movie. The plot of the movie was a fisherman is confronted by his ex-lover to kill her current husband. What? How do you get the idea of it all being a video game out of that? And the reveal that it was all a video game came in the middle. So after like the 50-minute mark, you're watching a convoluted movie about a video game character trying to stop being a video game character and go against the code and actually kill this person.
This sounds like it makes no sense.
It doesn't, and I thought it was hilarious, but my parents did not. They did not like this movie.
Were they just confused about it, or
they thought it was stupid? Some people like stupid. I like stupid to an extent. It's got to be the right kind of stupid. It's got to check the right boxes. It's got to make the right baffling decisions.
And it's got to touch all the right buttons.
It's got to raise the right questions.
And did it raise any of the right questions?
Yes.
And what question was that?
Why?
Why was this movie made?
Just why?
Why?
Yes.
Why? In the words of Michael Jackson, guess what? Tell me that it's human nature. Why? Why? Because this is that way. Why? Why? So it's just a movie that just made. Were they like Sausage Party angry, or were they just?
They weren't angry. They just thought it was so stupid.
Were they looking at you like, what the hell did we just watch?
No. Because they thought the trailer looked interesting.
So they were like, why? Yeah, so this is a movie you shouldn't watch with your parents.
No, because they are not going to get it. They're going to think it's stupid.
So this wasn't like Sausage Party. This was like, this was just stupid.
Yeah,
From what you're telling me, this movie sounds like it makes no sense.
it doesn't make sense. I have no idea why so many big people said yes to this movie.
All right. So have you said your piece?
I said my piece.
Okay. You know what my next one is?
What is it, Bill?
Justin. Mm, 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 mm. The Wolf of Wall Street. By the way, may I add, one of my favorite movies.
And one of your dad's least.
How'd you know I'm about to tell that story?
Oh, just an inkling.
Yeah, but first of all, who did I see this in theaters with at first?
Was it moi?
It was you. Remember we saw this?
I do.
Remember we were going to first see it on New Year's Day, but you're like, yeah, let's go see it another day.
Yeah.
And then we saw it a few days later. We didn't know what we were getting ourselves into, did we? I have to add, if you've seen, just like with Tarantino, if you're familiar with Scorsese's work, you should know what you're going to watch. Am I right?
Yeah. He doesn't hold back.
So, you know what was the so yeah, now we get to the good part. When I watched it with my dad wanted to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
And my brother was there too. My brother was like I want to say he was like a sophomore in high school at the time, and I was a sophomore in college.
Right.
Remember the rule of R-rated movies that was in my family.
Yes.
Remember that rule? Just remember it. So I remember and my mom was in the room, and the opening scene is Leonardo DiCaprio snorting cocaine out of a hooker's ass.
Yeah.
And my mom looks, this is when I leave, don't I?
Yep.
I'm like, yeah, Mom, this is when you leave. And I just look so
Red.
I'm like, yeah, I'm like, oh God. But I'm thinking that night, once my mom left, I'm thinking, okay, because again, you know what? Broader conversation here. Have you ever, and we've touched upon this briefly, why do you feel like certain movies are easier to watch with your dad than your mom and vice versa?
Because they usually are.
Like, this is not a movie I would watch with my mom.
You gotta remember, I saw my first R-rated movie with my dad. That was Watchmen. That is still one of the most violent movies I've ever seen in my life.
Because you know what I think it is? I think moms, they kind of like to look at us as still as their little boys.
Mm-hmm.
While our dads are like, okay, you're a man now. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like on moving day of freshman year of college, your dad is the one pushing you out of the car, your mom is the one holding onto your foot.
Yes.
That is what it basically is. But that's why I feel some movies are easier to watch with my dad than my mom.
Right.
But there are some movies that I feel are easier to watch with my mom than my dad.
Yeah.
But anyway, so my mom goes upstairs and And then I'm like, okay, it's me and my dad and my brother. This shouldn't go terrible, should it? This should go great. In the words of Leonardo DiCaprio from this movie, absolutely not. I'm like, oh no. Because like there were scenes, they were looking over at me and they're like, Bill, what the hell are we watching? I'm like, what the hell are we watching, Bill? What is this crap? I'm like, God help me, please. God help me, please. And I got to listen to my brother go, this is so stupid. I'm like, oh, only 2 hours left. Only an hour and a half left. Maybe this will maybe they warm up to it. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. It was kind of frustrating and upsetting.
I can imagine.
And I remember, do you remember the scene when Jonah Hill basically ate somebody's goldfish in that movie?
Yes.
And my dad goes, and this guy got an Oscar nod for this. I'm like, don't question me. Guess who you question?
The Academy.
Go right to the Academy. Go right to the Academy. Go right to the Academy. I'm sure they'll have some interesting things to say. Don't you, Justin? Do you think they'll have some interesting things to say? And my dad looks at me. I want to say it was in the last third. He goes, William, this is one of the worst movies I've ever watched. And when he uses the real name, guess what?
You're in court.
William, this is one of the worst movies I've ever watched. And I'm like, I'm just trying to nervously
diffuse the tension.
And my brother goes, yeah, I'm with Dad on this one. But my brother was in his, like, I want to be like Dad phase, so he was just mimicking him. I'm like,
did he ever revisit the movie?
My dad and my brother are both.
Your brother.
What was that?
Your brother. I don't think your dad's going to change his opinion on that.
I don't know, actually. I don't know if he ever watched it again. But you know, when I was talking to my dad about that about this recently, he's like, maybe it's not the worst movie, but it just wasn't for me.
Fair.
Like, I don't think he watched it again, but he did say, he said, you know, it wasn't the worst. Maybe I overreacted a little bit. But I don't know if I'd watch it again. I'm like, okay, you know what? It's not for everybody. Like,
it isn't. It's not like it's Goodfellas.
Like you said, Goodfellas is a movie. This is just, I don't know what this is, he said.
Yeah.
I know what this is. Do you know what this is? So, yeah. So, any thought? Is this a movie you should not watch with your relatives?
Yeah, this is definitely one that you shouldn't. There's a lot of sex and drugs in this.
And you know what? Because when I was looking for other ideas to talk about, somebody said not just the sex, drugs, and violence part, but also because this movie is about, a quote in the article, an irredeemable human being.
Yeah.
Like, if you watch the movie, Jordan Belfort's a terrible person.
What?
If you watch the film, Jordan Belfort's a horrible person. He has since cleaned up. He went to prison, and now he went to prison, he cleaned up. And now he's basically reformed.
Right.
But once you think about it, this movie is about someone who's just irredeemable.
Yeah.
And
it's a cautionary tale.
And, because a lot of people were concerned about this movie because, first of all, before I give this example, I want to give a shout out to our good friend, Dr. Matt Hemsley, who was invited to be here tonight, but he couldn't make it. But we still love you, Dr. Hemsley. We still do. But he went to a preppy all-boys private school.
Yeah.
First of all, does this seem like a movie that preppy all-boys private school kids would watch?
Kind of.
He said so many people wanted to be like Jordan Belfort. Because,
yeah, I can see it.
Because a lot of people, well, even Matt was like, yeah, that's Dr. Hemsley was like, that's really not the point. Because a lot of people were concerned that this movie was glorifying what he did. But Jordan Belfort said, no, this is a cautionary tale.
Mm-hmm.
This is a cautionary tale of what happens when you get into this stuff. And one more thing before we move on. I have this movie on DVD, and my dad had a coworker or someone who worked for him. He goes, yeah, I heard about this movie, The Wolf of Wall Street. I heard it has Leo snorting coke out of a hooker's ass. And he goes, The Wolf of Wall Street? He goes, oh, I think my son has that on DVD. I can ask him if you can borrow it. And my dad goes, hey, do you think you could, this guy wants to watch this Wolf of Wall Street. Do you have it? I goes, yeah, I do. Can he borrow it? I'm like, sure. And usually I'm very AR about people borrowing my stuff. Are you, Justin?
I mean, people don't often borrow my stuff, so.
I'm like, okay. Because I'm thinking, my dad's offered it. So I'm like, okay. And he had it for like months, maybe up to a year. Then he gave it back and he never watched it.
Oh my God.
If you're going to borrow it, guess what?
At least watch it.
At least give me the courtesy to watch it. I'm like, well, if he wants to watch it, he can keep it until he watches it. He goes, nah, he's good. I'm like, you had this for months, maybe a year, and you didn't even freaking watch it. At least give me the courtesy and watch it. If you told me it was terrible, well, guess what? At least
See it to make your own opinion.
you watched it. Yeah. Okay, Justin, you have any more?
I do not.
Okay. I got one more. Actually, one a friend gave me and then one of my own. Have you ever heard of the movie Deuce Bigalow?
Oh God.
Have you ever watched it?
No, but I've heard of it.
Yeah, me neither. Because I was texting, shout out to my friend Mike Rifkin. That was the one who let me borrow his joke. So in return, I said, do you have any suggestions? Deuce Bigalow. I've never seen this movie, so I can't say much about it. Moving on.
It's a Rob Schneider movie. Enough said.
Damn it, Rob Schneider. But here's one.
See, I think this depends on what kind of parents you have.
What do you mean?
I had fun with this with my parents.
They actually watched this with you?
Yes.
I actually first watched this with my brother. And then my brother watched it with my dad. My dad actually got some enjoyment out of it.
Yeah.
He thought, yeah, it was pretty funny. Well, because my dad likes Family Guy too for a while.
Hmm.
You know what my favorite line in this movie is?
What?
So you had sexual relations with a coworker on the produce we sell? Yes, I did. I also with a parsnip. And then I sold that parsnip to a family of 4 small children. That took guts.
We need guts. I'm promoting
promoting
you. You have a lot of issues, don't you?
But be honest, if you owned a supermarket and somebody came in and told you that, would you promote them? Would you say, yeah, you're fired?
You're fired.
That's $10, though. You got to give them that. Please, I don't promote that. Don't do sexual things
He did.
with produce. Please don't. If you do that, that's your business. But yeah, but it's like I could watch this movie with my dad, but I would dare not watch this with my mother.
Oh, I could.
Yeah. So, okay. So anything else, or in the words of Imagine Dragons, there's nothing else to say.
I think we are done here.
All right, guys. Well, we hope you enjoyed. We hope you enjoyed tonight, us sitting here talking about dirty movies. So don't watch these with your parents. Or any human beings. Nah, you can watch it with some human beings. Wait, we didn't make a decision. Are pets included in this or no?
No, pets aren't included in this.
And why?
Because they're pets.
Oh, is that the nut?
No, that's the bench. That's the nut.
The nut has been very opinionated during this. Okay, guys, so if you like what you see here, and why wouldn't you? Because this content's amazing. Like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell. JT, unfortunately, like we said, he couldn't be here tonight. He had a family emergency. Allie made a quick appearance. Hopefully, we'll all be here together next week.
Yes.
As one big,
happy,
somewhat dysfunctional family. And when I mean dysfunctional, I mean that in the, Yeah. Okay, so like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell. Check out career retrospectives. And also check out the Sports Insanity podcast on the Sports Insanity Network. Football season's coming, folks. Check us out. So until next week, I'm Bill.
I'm Justin.
Thank you for watching Super Review Show's Mixed Bag. We will see you next week. Stay safe, take care, and be awesome.
Peace.